Here is an overview of the female reproductive system. So we have here both a frontal and a sagittal view. We're going to begin with semen deposited in the vagina. So about right here is where semen would be deposited. And in the side view, that would be about right here. So this from here to here is the vagina. And so about right there is where the semen would be deposited. And a few facts about the vagina. One is that it is acidic. The pH is about 4 to 5. And this is due to bacteria that live there. So just like how the large intestine has protective bacteria, so does the vagina. These bacteria secrete acid. And this acid is protective. It protects against infection, and especially yeast infection. And as long as you maintain these bacteria, and they'll make the acid and they're protective. But there are things that would upset the bacteria, such as taking an antibiotic. Just like how we learned that taking an antibiotic makes people open to getting C. diff, taking an antibiotic also makes a woman open to getting a yeast infection. Using a douche would also upset those bacteria and increase the risk of getting yeast infection. Yeast infections can also occur if there is sugar. So this tends to be in diabetics because there is sugar in the urine. So here is the urinary bladder. And here is the urethra where the urine exits. So they are separate. Notice the urethra, right here is the urethral orifice, and right here is the opening to the vagina. So they are separate, but if there is sugar in the urine, some of that sugar-laden urine can travel over and get into the vagina, and that sugar will feed yeast and cause yeast to grow. Another thing about this acid is it's killing yeast and any other unwanted pathogens. It also kills sperm. So semen has a high pH to neutralize this acid and protect the sperm. Okay, so now that the sperm have been deposited, they have to make their way to the egg. So the sperm are going to swim up this way. And the next thing they encounter is the cervix. So in our bottom picture, this is the cervix. So the cervix is that opening to the vagina. It's like the door. I'm sorry, it's the entrance to the uterus. Normally the cervix is closed, so it is usually closed. It will open on the day the woman ovulates. So ovulation is the day that the woman's ovaries release an egg, and it will open then because it wants to let sperm get through to the egg. It will open when you're in labor to let a fetus out. And semen contains a chemical called prostaglandin that makes it open so the sperm can get in. So then the sperm swim up through the uterus. So in our bottom picture, here is the uterus. So the sperm are through the cervix, they swim up through the uterus, and then they have to go up the fallopian tubes. There's about 300 million sperm per ejaculation, so there's plenty to split up. Half of them go to the right and half of them go to the left. So then the sperm swim up through the fallopian tubes, and that is where they will find an egg. So here is the fallopian tube in our bottom picture. And another name for fallopian tube is uterine tube. And the egg would be about here. So about here is going to be the egg. So the sperm have to swim all the way up there. One sperm will be allowed to fertilize the egg. And once that happens, you get a zygote. So a zygote is one cell that is an egg and sperm fused together. Then that zygote will have to travel back to the uterus. So now that we have a zygote, let's switch colors. And it will travel back this way through the fallopian tube down here to the uterus, and it will implant in the uterus. All right, so there is your overview of the female reproductive system, the parts, and what's going on when conception occurs.